Every app will need some detail to back up the charts. Straight tables and pivot tables give detail at some aggregation level. What that means is that you might get a list of customers with their number of orders, their sum of sales, and their total margin amount. Let's talk about straight tables first. Add a new sheet, layout, add sheet, so that we have some space to work. Now that we're getting multiple sheets, let's make it easier to know where we are. Let's right-click in the white space and choose Properties. QlikView brings up the Sheet Properties dialog. The first thing to notice is the text in the title box is the same as the tab name. Change Sheet 4 to Tables and click Apply. The tab text now shows Tables. Now, just for fun, let's make the sheet a crazy color. We'll click the Sheet Settings, Color button, and choose something crazy like hot pink. Click OK, OK, and Apply. Obviously, you wouldn't punish your users like this, but your company's color standards might require something else like a light gray. For now, let's change it back to white. OK, OK, and Apply. Click on the Fields tab. Here you'll see a list of all the available fields in your data model. If you choose one, say Country, and click Add, and then OK, QlikView will add Country as a list box. It's a pretty handy way to add multiple list boxes at one shot. Let's move it out of the way here. Okay, back to the straight table. Let's right-click and add a new sheet object. Since we're talking tables, you'll be tempted to click Table Box. Don't, it's the wrong one. Click Chart. The bottom right icon is the straight table. If you forget, you can hover and the tooltip will identify it. Click the icon and then Next. The dimensions you choose determine the grouping of the aggregations. The detail we would like in this table is product detail. The largest group that we'll start with is product category. Let's find it in our list and click Add. Follow that with product subcategory and product name. Click Next. In the expression dialog, let's add a count of orders. Type count, sales order ID. Close your parentheses and click OK and finish. Let's talk about what we're seeing. If we take the first line, the value is 776. That's the number of orders for 4 bike hitch racks with a subcategory of bike racks and the category of accessories. Click on the product. It limits the table to just that row because that hitch rack only exists in those specific categories. The total row shows the same as the row total. Clear your filters and choose Bottles and Cages subcategory. You see the individual totals plus the total for that subcategory. You immediately see that 30-ounce water bottles sell twice as well as the others. Go ahead and clear your filters. We're not done, of course. Let's go back to the Expressions tab and add a couple more expressions. We'll click Add, and we'll say Sum Sales Amount. Click OK. We'll add another one, and we'll do Sum Margin Amount, and click OK. Look at the expressions for a minute. Notice that sum with a capital S or all caps is the same as sum with all lowercase. It brings up the fact that QlikView functions are not case sensitive. Fields and field values are case sensitive. Try to be consistent with your functions, however. If you mix and match upper and lowercase in different ways all over the app, it just looks sloppy. Now let's give our expressions labels. For the orders, we'll say orders. We'll call this one sales. And we'll call this one margin. And click OK. Look at the titles of all the columns. Your expressions look fine, but the dimensions have database-friendly names. Also, the number formats in our expressions are bad. First, let's make this a little wider so we don't have a scroll bar. And we'll go to the Dimensions tab. We'll call product category name category. We'll call this one sub. And product name we'll just call product. And let's go to the Numbers tab. Orders we'll just change to an integer. Sales we'll make money. Get rid of the pennies. Margin, money. Get rid of the pennies. And we'll click Apply. Much better. Finally, let's give the user some help by calculating the margin percent. Go back to the Expressions tab and add a new expression. The formula is margin amount divided by sales amount. We could type out both formulas and put in a division symbol, but there's an easier way. You can use the expression labels instead. They need to be wrapped in square bracket, so we'll type square margin, close it with a square bracket, divided by square bracket, sales, square bracket. Click OK. Let's give it a label of margin percent. Then we'll go to the Number tab, and we'll format as an integer, and we'll show it in percent. Click OK. Let's make this wider. And now you can see the percent margin. A margin of 8% is a little alarming. Double-click on margin percent to see that you're actually losing money in various products. Double-click to sort, and we have minus 20% for those long-sleeve jerseys. It's another question that needs answering. Finally, let's do some formatting to help highlight things that need to be seen. But first, a rule. If everything is highlighted, then nothing is highlighted. Think of it this way. If every project your boss gives you is top priority, which one do you do first? It's just frustrating. Highlighting everything in your app, good or bad, does the same to your users. What do they focus on? Let's go back into the table's properties. There are two ways that we can highlight values. We've already learned about expression attributes, that little plus sign next to the expression, so let's start there. Let's say that your business rules state that any margin below 20% is poor. Open the plus sign next to the margin percent in your expressions. Now think through how you want to present your highlight. We know that less than 20% is bad, but common sense tells us that negative margin is horrible. Let's make it a two-step highlight. If it's less than 20%, we'll make the text red. If it's negative, we'll make it red, bold, and give it a pale red background. Double-click on text color. In the expression dialog, we'll type if, we'll open a parentheses, and then we'll use the label, margin percent, close that square bracket. It's less than 20% or 0.2, then we'll make it red. QlikView has some built-in colors so that you don't always have to look up an RGB value. We'll click OK and apply to see the red values. Now double-click on text format. This field recognizes HTML tags, so we'll type if, square bracket, margin percent, is less than 0, comma, which is your then. We'll do B for bold. Has to be wrapped in single quotes. close your parentheses. Click OK, and OK to see your results. Now the negatives are bold, and if we scroll down, below 20 is red, and if we scroll further, you can see that above 20 now is just plain black. Let's go back and open the expression attributes again. Properties, plus, let's double click on background color. We'll type in if, again, margin %, and we'll say less than 0, comma, and we'll use an RGB value here. RGB, open parentheses, 255, comma, 175, comma, 175. Close that set of parentheses and close the next one. And that way we'll get a light red. Click OK and OK to see the results. Again, we'll scroll down. Zeros are not highlighted red background. All looks good. In order to teach you the other way to highlight, we'll have to do more than we would ordinarily. We're going to over-highlight. Let's go back into your properties. Choose visual clues. Let's make up a requirement that we need to highlight sales of more than $1 million. Click on the sales expression, and then in the upper box, type 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll leave the text green, and in the background, let's make that a light green by choosing a color. And we'll choose this color. Click OK, OK, and OK to see the results. If we scroll down, we'll start to see green highlighted sales values. It's also good to know that these values react to your filters. So if we choose France, it'll only choose sales in France that are over $1 million to make them green. And it doesn't look like we have any. Finally, let's clean up the presentation. Go to the Caption tab and uncheck unnecessary icons. On tables like this, I tend to leave this into Excel. Give it a title of something like Product Sales. Go to the Presentation tab. We can actually add a drop-down to the column headers. Click on Category, and then check Drop-Down Select. And click OK. Now there's a little triangle in the category column. If you click it, you get a list of categories to choose from. Let's choose bikes. It acts like a mini list box. Okay, that's enough for the straight table. Let's take a quick look at pivot tables. First, clear your filters.